what makes you really happy? Or what do you want to achieve in your life? Or what are you really good at? All of these are very short and very easy questions, but sometimes they can be really difficult to answer because it requires to look within yourself and to find out, okay, what is it that you really want? And it's so much easier to observe others, to look at others, to have an opinion of others, to give advice to others. I think you should wear black today. Or, I think you should change jobs. Or, that man isn't right for you. Or, oh, come on, you can do it. You can really do it. It's easy. We take the attention away from ourselves and we look at others. But then how can you really go and find your inner strength? So that's what I want to share with you today. And actually what I want to do is I want to share with you 3 key elements that help me throughout my life and my journey. And so I'll share that with you right now. And saying right now is actually already the first key element, because a lot of times people say, one day I'll start my own business. One day I'll lose 10 pounds. One day, I'll change careers. One day. One day is so vague. What is one day? It's not a weekday. It's not a time. It's not a date. It's too vague. And in everything that I've done in my life, I learned one thing. It's like when I put a time on it, when I put a deadline on it, that's when I achieve it. In 2016, I said, okay, my first best-selling book, Awaken Your Confidence, I want to have it done by the summer of 2016. I did it. Second book, 2017, speaking, starting my business. Every time I put a goal on it, and I moved abroad in different countries, by the way, and every time I said, by that time, I want to be in another country. And actually this winter, I want to be in another country again. So putting a deadline on it is definitely the key element number 1. Key element number 2, what is a lot of time blocking us from finding our inner strengths? And you already mentioned it, both of you. It's our thoughts. We have so many stories going on in our minds. And those stories, well, I help a lot of people. I coach people finding clarity on their journey abroad. And so often do I hear, I really want to do that, but I can't. I'm not good enough. Or what will people say? Or I'm too old. It's all these stories in our minds that we create. But those stories, they lead to how we feel, maybe scared, and that leads to a behavior, probably stuck and doing nothing. Let me just...
One day never comes in.
Yeah. So let me just give you an example. Let's say you were at a conference today, and there's 2 different stories you can have in your mind, okay? So one person, let's say you're standing somewhere and there's a little group of people on a table, they look at you and they start laughing really loud. One person might think, there's something wrong with me, I'm wearing the wrong things, and then, you suddenly feel really bad about yourself and the rest of your day goes pretty bad. It's one story. Another person may think, they're having a good time at that table, and you just go away with the flow of your day. It's just 2 different thoughts that lead to either feeling good or feeling bad. But our thoughts affect us in a great way. A lot of times the thoughts are also negative. It's like it comes like an automatic pilot. It's like, oh, it's a bad day, it's raining, it's, I'm not good enough. And then you keep repeating it. Well, yeah, you're going to start believing it as well. Or a lot of us are in business or entrepreneurs. And how often do we say, if only I had 30 hours in a day, then I could do so much more. If only I had more time. In fact, this is proven, and you probably know that as well. It's like we all have a limited cognitive capacity. So our brain can make 200 decisions in a day. But for our brain, 200 decisions, every decision is, going left or right on the street, putting milk or sugar in your coffee, deciding to change a career, buy a house, end your relationship. All of these are a decision. So once your brain is reaching 200 decisions, even if you would have 10 more hours in a day, it's done. When you go into a meeting and you sometimes after a few hours of a meeting, like, oh, I'm done, I'm really done. Your brain can't think anymore. So all of these thoughts we put like, oh, I want more time, or I'm not good enough, it's all thoughts in our mind. And we should just question, like, are they really true? So, because they do affect how we see ourselves and also the decisions that we make. So what can we do about all of these thoughts and these negative thoughts? Well, very simple. Stop them. Actually catch yourself thinking and then stop them and then turn them around. Like you said, turn them around from negative to positive. Instead of saying, I can't, I will. I'm no good, I'm awesome. Positive affirmations. mentioned that before. So turn it around. Is it really easy? No. If it would all be so easy, we would all be rocket scientists. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying you have to do it and do it again and repeat and repeat and repeat, because the key to master any skill is repetition. And once you repeat it all the time, those positive thoughts will become an automatic pilot. It does really work. We're here to tell you why, because we know it works. So change those thoughts around from negative to positive. Instead of seeing the glass half empty, see it half full. So retrain your brain. It is possible. Bringing me to key element number 3. Do you recognize if I say, that people say sometimes, I want a body like her. I want a career like her. I want a business like them. You want to be like somebody else. We compare ourselves to others because they are so much better and they have this and I don't. And we compare ourselves all the time. But how fair is that? We compare the outside appearance and looks and money and fame of somebody with our inside characteristics. They have a great house and I'm stupid. She has a great body and I'm weak. It makes no sense. It's not fair. Comparing ourselves. But, I talk to a lot of people again, and I see it happen all the time. In fact, it's human nature to compare ourselves with others. And when I talk to clients as well, I say, well, the person you compare yourself to, is that an exact copy of you? It must be, because you can only compare apples and apples. You don't compare apples and oranges. But think about it. If you would grow up with an exact genetic twin, you would still grow up with different experiences, different situations, different likes, different dislikes. So how can you compare your accomplishments with somebody? You can't. It's not fair. It doesn't go. And if you grow old and you're in, let's say you're 95 years old and you look back into your life, whose life will you look back upon? Yours or somebody else's? Do you want to follow somebody else and be in their shadow? Or do you want to have your own life? There's a lot of research being done, people reaching the end of life, and they ask those people, so what is your advice to your younger self? And very commonly they all say, well, I wish I would have lived my life more. I wish I would have tried things more. I wish I would have experienced the passions that I have. And actually that is something that keeps me going all the time. My drive is I don't want to grow old thinking, what if I had done it? I don't want that thought. So I want to keep going. I want to keep trying and exploring things. But back to comparing ourselves. It is human nature, and it is so easy. All we need to do is take our phone, scroll down social media, and we see all these fabulous bodies and amazing holidays and, dream relationships. It's easy to compare. But what is this social media? What are we looking at? We all have bad days. And what do? We show the best pictures and we hide our mess. And social media is a way to connect each other. But in reality, it disconnects us from our reality. So what can you do about all this? Simple answer. Stop it. Catch yourself comparing yourself, and then stop yourself. Look at yourself. Hold up a mirror. It's called self-reflection. And that is your ticket back to reality. Look at all the things that you have, that you can, that you know, not what others can and do and know. So look at yourself. And like the quote that Coco Chanel said, beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. And I would say, beauty begins the moment you decide to tell your own story. And I'm not saying don't look at others, okay, because I do it too. But don't look at others out of envy. Look at others out of inspiration. Get inspired by other people that you admire, and then learn and grow and develop yourself. I wanted to be a speaker and a trainer and have my online business. I went to seminars and speaking events and trainings, and I asked those people a ton of questions. What did you do? What's your advice? What steps did you take? I keep talking to people because I want to tell my own story and I want to grow and I want to develop myself. So to summarize, you have a choice. You can do two things. You can sit back, relax, look at others seemingly doing better, feel really bad about it, and just stay stuck in your thoughts. Or you can look around, find other people who do what you want to do, be inspired by them, ask questions, grow, develop yourself to become the person that you want to be. And so when you think back about the deadline and the timeline that I mentioned in the beginning of my talk, then my final question would be, when? When is your moment that you're going to start telling your own story? Thank you.